Hi there, this is Chelsea with Cataraqui Conservation, and I'm here to give you a brief introduction on how to use our new lake reporting web application, interact with the dashboards, and make the most out of the information we've provided. As you can see, there are tabs along the top, which are the parameters we've looked into for the lakes within our region. And if you scroll down, there are different sections associated with each of these tabs. You can also use the scrolling bar along the side to get to the different sections as well. For images within the supplemental text, you can click on the corner here and expand the images to the full size so they're easier to read. If there are underlined words within the dashboard, that means when you click on it, an action will be taken. So it might take you to a different location within the map, or it might bring you to these additional resources. If it's a solid line, it's going to take you to a website outside of the dashboard. So the purpose of lake reporting is to answer two questions. What is the lake like, and how impacted or vulnerable is the lake? So these are the questions we're hoping to answer with the parameters we've looked into. As you can see from this graphic, they're going to be ranked on all the vulnerability parameters from very low to very high. Low meaning less impacted or vulnerable, and then very high meaning more impacted or vulnerable. I'm just going to jump over to the invasive species exposure page and go through an example of using a dashboard. So the first thing you need to do to interact with the dashboard is to select a lake, and this can be done one of two ways. So if you expand out this filter, and you can just pin it up here at the top so it doesn't collapse back into the side. You can see from this that you can select lakes in a multitude of ways. If you're looking for a specific classification, let's say you want to look at moderate lakes, you can click on that and it'll update this list with all the lakes that are ranked moderate. If you're not looking to view the lakes by classification, you can always click reset and that'll update the list back to what it was originally. And if you're looking for just a specific lake in mind, you can use this filter to search for your lake. So let's say we want to search for Charleston Lake. I would type Charleston, it'll come up in the filter, so I just need to select Charleston, and it'll zoom into that on this map. Another way to select a lake is to use the map. So let's say we're done with Charleston, and we move over and want to look at Singleton Lake. So I would just click on Singleton and this pop-up comes up, and this can either, it will be just a symbol like this, or it could say select, but you need to click this select button up here in the corner of the pop-up, and then that will select Singleton and update these dashboard elements. And then if you want to unselect that lake, you would just click the X, it'll bring you back to the main map. There are a couple other map features I'd like to show you, an important one being the legend. So the legend will show you what all the symbols and layers on the map mean. So as you zoom in, it'll show you the updated symbol for the boat launches, the navigation channel, and what all the different rankings are. So you can tell that just by looking at the map that Buck Lake is moderate, Devil Lake is low, etc. Additionally, you can turn on and off layer visibility. So let's say the map was a bit cluttered, you wanted to see something underneath the lake feature, you can turn off that layer and turn it back on, as with all the other visible layers. You can also switch your base map using this button right up in the corner. So let's say you wanted to use imagery instead of the standard base map that's available. You can click it and it'll switch you over to an image, and you can visualize the landscape that way. Or if a darker or lighter base map is easier on the eyes, you can switch to whatever works for you. I'd also like to mention that within the pop-up that comes up is a condensed version of a lot of what you see in these dashboard panes. So it'll be a summarized version of that information available in the pop-up. Also, there are sometimes different tabs stacked on top of each other for these dashboard panes. So it might look like this, where there's an arrow that you can click back and forth. You might see both of the tabs visible in their title. It depends on how large your screen is. And these are the ranking dashboard panes. So if we select a lake, let's say we select Devil Lake. Devil Lake is classified as low, and then if you tab over here, it'll give you the explanation of what low means for that lake. If you have issues using any of these dashboard panes or visualizing them, you can click and drag them to make them larger, or you can click up in the top right corner here and it'll expand it out to the full width and height of the dashboard. Once you're finished going through the tabs and looking at them for your lake of interest, you can go over to the lake summary results. And this is going to give you a condensed version of all the ranked parameters for the lake. Some of the parameters, like soil and geology, are just for additional information, and then some of them are ranked based on vulnerability. So the vulnerability rankings are what's condensed here in the lake summary report. So this chart is showing a list of all the vulnerability parameters, their associated rank and class for that specific lake. And then at the bottom here, the final score is an average of all the vulnerability parameters, and it'll give you the final classification of that lake. Also for this map, you can tab over down here below the map and view a summary sheet of all the ranked parameters and the associated meaning with the score. So if you'd like to interpret anything on this score sheet, let's say watershed position is ranked low, well, you can look over here on the vulnerability parameter list. Watershed position is right here, very low, and this is the associated meaning for that score. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful to give you a better understanding of how to use the dashboards. If you have any questions or comments, you can go over to the introduction page and scroll down to the bottom to the contact section for more information on how to reach out to us.